joining us now is Dan McMillan, former prosecutor with the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, now founder and executive director of Save Democracy in America, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to campaign finance reform. Dan, welcome. Good to see you today. Jury selection today will be watched very closely for signs of bias. How airtight is this process? What are the risks and what should people watch out for?
Well, on the one hand, we don't really have to worry, I think, about an unfair jury being selected, a jury that's unfair either to defense or prosecution. The process is going to be very rigorous. It's going to take, I think, weeks. It's going to involve an extensive questioning of all potential jurors for any possible source of bias. But on the other hand, every single day, there will be an opportunity for President Trump to hold a press conference denouncing the process, claiming that this or that juror who, in his view, is biased was nonetheless allowed on the jury. That has been his approach and that of his attorneys all along. And it's also an opportunity for President Trump to have a tremendous amount of free media time, which has always been one of his strengths, campaigning. Even if he doesn't raise as much money as President Biden for campaign advertising and other campaign expenses, he often is, as in 2016, has been able to compensate for that by free media time.
And Dan, I just want to turn now to...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thanks so much. I just want to turn now to more of the legal aspects here. Bragg's charging Trump under a law that allows him to elevate misdemeanors to felonies. What's the potential impact of this action on the case and on the public's perception of fairness here?
Well, the thing is that even legal experts who are Democrats agree this is really a stretch. I mean, strictly speaking, yeah, Bragg can legitimately turn this crime that normally is handled as a misdemeanor into a felony, but it's basically the charge is falsifying public records, falsifying business records to conceal the fact that he funded a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels in the last weeks before the 2016 election, because he thought that if Daniels went public, that could embarrass him and hurt him at the polls. And not reporting that payment as an in-kind contribution to his campaign was a violation of federal campaign finance law. But it's not a huge violation. It's a stretch to convert this into a felony. And more importantly, I think, in the eyes of the public, it is clear most Americans, or a lot of Americans, see this as pretty small potatoes compared to the other charges against President Trump, and consequently feeds the narrative that these prosecutions, that all the prosecutions are politically motivated, which he's been claiming all along.
So what evidence and arguments will Bragg need to present to secure a felony conviction from the jury?
I'm not going to offer an opinion. I have not seen the evidence myself. And also as a former prosecutor, it's not a good idea to express an opinion about the quality of the evidence if you haven't seen all the evidence.
That's fair. Okay, I just want to turn now to President Trump attempting to assert some form of presidential immunity from the charges that he's facing. That was rejected, and the judge said that he waited too long as his reason. How do both those arguments stack up legally?
Well, it's hard to see how the presidential immunity argument is relevant to this trial. President Trump has claimed immunity for all actions committed while he was president. This is about an action taken before he was president in the fall of 2016. On the other hand, he has claimed this presidential immunity specifically for the charges in Georgia of trying to tamper with the result of that election and the charge that he incited the Capitol riot.
Okay,
I don't know of a single legal expert who takes that seriously, but the Supreme Court is is taking arguments on that question, the presidential immunity argument, I think on April 25th.
Okay,
that's
so
not been
lastly,
decided
Dan,
yet.
Okay, and just finally, Dan, we have about 20 seconds for your response. How could these decisions made in this case impact future presidents?
I think it's going to make future prosecutors hesitate before bringing charges against a former president, because I don't think this trial is going to make is going to make all the prosecutions look very good.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Dan McMillan, former prosecutor of the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office and founder and executive director of Save Democracy in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefania.